Sure.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is Tabletop
Got no sound, Peter.
No sound?
You started talking and your mic just cut off.
All right. That's weird. Okay. Try this again. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
This is Table Talk Weekly, and we're trying this again. And with our partners of Solarian Games. This is Jason. I'm Peter. And this week's stories. Brian Shutter joins us to talk about deities and demi bros, the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland book. Hey Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Shannon, let's see, Shannon Appelkline of Designers and Dragons has a new book. Greyhawk is the default setting for D&D again, and the NSA has a podcast.
And actually, the story we're going to talk about is not Greyhawk. We're going to talk about Paizo revealing the new NPC core book.
Oh,
but
I got
that's
those
okay.
mixed
We'll
up.
do it next week.
I got it mixed up. Sorry, my friend.
Yeah, boy, I make it look easy, don't I?
What was the last minute change? Anyway,
You're making me look good.
All right, that's fine. Let's go. All right, Shannon Appelkline has published the Moon Files. Jason, tell us about the Moon Files.
All right, so we're actually gonna do a full review for this in an upcoming show, but I just wanted to mention it because Shannon Appelkline is one of the, I don't want to say like most important, but I think most important authors in, amongst all the different people that have been writing the history of tabletop gaming. Long before John Peterson came out with Playing at the World, Shannon Appelkline had a book called Designers and Dragons. And it was originally published as a single big volume. And then he went back and did even more research and had even more to talk about. And it ended up becoming 5 volumes that you can buy now. It's called Designers and Dragons. And so he's a great historian and a great writer. And he has now written a book about, well, sort of about RuneQuest. It's actually about a fan organization, and this is the Reaching Moon Megacorp. It's one of the only fan organizations that was actually mentioned in his book set, Designers and Dragons. They were that important. They had a fanzine called Tales of the Reaching Moon, and this was, quote, the place where the next generation of Gloranthan authors first gathered, where they first tested their skills. They would be the future of the game. So this was a fanzine for a fan organization writing about RuneQuest and Glorantha, its setting, but it was incredibly influential. Some of the people that wrote for it were people like Rick Meintz, David Scott, Nick Brook, all of them on the current Chaosium team. They started out writing there. And many of the writers and artists got their start creating for Tales of the Reaching Moon and are still active today. So it's very exciting that he's done a book about this. It's a whole part of fandom and tabletop gaming that I know almost nothing about. So I can't wait to learn some new history.
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
I don't know if either of you are RuneQuest players at all.
So no, I've seen it around, and I know Chaosium does like a new like starter set for it, and like I'm really like want to like dive into it because it sounds cool. It reminds me of like RuneScape, that old like game. Probably just by name of proxy only. But I'm very interested. I definitely want to check it out. I heard it's kind of cool. There's some cool stuff to it.
Yeah, well, James, who isn't with us today because he's away for today's show, but he knows a lot more about RuneQuest than I do. But I've been collecting all the books. I have all the Glorantha box sets and all the settings, and I've been reading through them, but I've never played it. It's very different. It's not a Dungeons and Dragons clone or anything like that. It's a very different sort of setting entirely. And I just will stop talking about it because I'm going to say something that's completely ignorant, and James could say it better. But I'm excited to learn.
And you said we're gonna read through that and review it.
Yeah, I just bought it, so I just haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Okay.
I'm just crazy for all kinds of gaming history. I try to buy every book, read everything, learn everything I can. Most of the stuff gets written around TSR though.
Right.
And, although I have picked up books, like there was one by the founder of Avalon Hill. It was called Tales of an 84-year-old teenager or something like that, where he was like writing about his life. And I was all excited because I was like, wow, it's a self-published little book all about like Avalon Hill. I can't wait to read about how it was like, what it was like to start Avalon Hill. And the first half of the book was him talking about baseball.
Yeah.
He was just like, I love baseball. Boy, baseball's the best. Let me tell you about baseball. And I was like, okay. But I bought it anyway. I don't care. So
I think there's like a Games Workshop book too out there.
really?
I'm pretty sure. I know there's like a John Blanche one I
Mhm.
bought for a buddy for Christmas. I know that exists. And I'm pretty sure that there's one about like Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson, right? Like,
Oh, wow. Okay, I have to pick that up too then. I mean, right now I'm reading through John Peterson came out with a second edition of Playing at the World, which is actually completely rewritten. So there's a lot to learn. Next story, we
Next
have
series.
the Pathfinder NPC core book has been announced. I guess it's the second edition NPC core book, announced to hit the stores on March 5th. So that's some months in the future. I don't know what number month March is. It contains over 250 stat blocks for NPCs that can be dropped right into games, from servants to farmers to masters of magic to martial artists. And it looks like it's going to be pretty fat because this book is going to retail for $70.
A lot of
So
money.
I don't know. Pathfinder, I don't know how they're doing these days with, D&D, sucking up all the oxygen in the room. Pathfinder was a big alternative when there was a 4th edition that nobody wanted to play, but now everybody's, back on the WotC bandwagon. So hopefully, I don't know, $70 for a book of NPCs sounds like a big ask, but
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, especially if we're talking like merchants and stuff like that, when you could just, wave your hand and play them. They're like, I attack this merchant, okay, you kill him. Like,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, it's cool to have a lot of NPCs, but like, what was the one back in 1st edition?
Oh, that was the Rogues Gallery.
The Rogues Gallery. I mean, and that was just tables.
Right.
Just
right.
table after table. And we loved having that. So,
Sure. Why not?
this could be great.
All right. And then we have the NSA has a podcast.
Yes. So this is going to be mostly of interest to top secret players in terms of the gaming world. And but what the heck? So the NSA has a podcast, and it is called No Such Podcast, which is a pun, play on words, inside joke, whatever, because the idea that the NSA, what does the NSA stand for?
National Security Association, or National Security, is it Association?
It stands for No Such Agency.
Oh, okay, I get you. All right, yeah. All right. Okay, sorry. I was trying to be serious.
It was actually, I mean, it was really, the NSA was formed in the 1950s, but they were not officially acknowledged until the 1970s. Officially, they didn't exist. So that's why the joke was always, when my granddad was working for the NSA, the joke was always, what does it stand for? No Such Agency. So, it's I've listened to it. It's a podcast made by the NSA. So obviously it's full of, we never ever break the law, and we're very careful to do everything correctly. And the one thing we're most concerned with is civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So that part's pretty boring to listen to, but then they get into how they actually managed to get the intel that was needed to catch bin Laden, for example. So
yeah, that's a good documentary about that.
Yeah. So even though it's, it's obviously very approved stuff, it's still pretty fun to listen to. It's still interesting. And they do talk, I guess they're always going to talk about this, but they talk entirely about SIGINT the whole time. So
okay,
for people who play Top Secret, if in our game, you have 4 different areas of knowledge that you can get all your information around, which is SIGINT, HUMINT, oh my gosh.
combat and tech.
Combat and tech. So, it's good to kind of get a picture of what SIGINT is. So that exists.
Yeah. All right. That's our stories for the week, but we have Brian Shutter on. Brian, why don't you tell people who you are and
So
what you do.
yeah, so I'm Brian Shutter. I'm the writer creator of a tabletop role playing game called Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland.
Yeah, and we met you at TotalCon.
Yep. A
Um,
couple years now going.
and I've really enjoyed your stuff. I mean, you guys have put out some really cool
Oh,
stuff.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, so I bought it just because of the cover, because I always judge a book by the cover, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
absolutely. It's 100%.
I mean, I don't have the book in front of me, so I can't describe the art perfectly, but who's the artist again?
So I'm pretty sure up to this point, Mustafa Bakir has been the artist for all the covers, except for like now there's new artists on the covers.
Okay.
But
Well, the one I'm thinking of that if you take the cover, you know, there's
Dust
nothing written
Jacket.
on that part.
Yeah.
It's psychedelic, it's neon, it's mind blowing, it's retro, it's futuristic, it's all these things. So I had to pick it up and buy it. And then you get inside, and it just gets even more gonzo as you go through it. So, but it does. I mean, I'll just say as an outside observer, it plays very. You'll recognize the play very well if you've played any type of fantasy role playing game. It's just that you have a lot more fun with Neon Lords when we're getting into it. It just seems like anything kind of goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Nailed it.
Yeah.
No notes. Perfect.
I'm trying to remember what well, tell us about the character classes. I think that's a good way to describe the game.
Yeah, so there's like they run all over the place. So there's Brudicorns that are like bicorns.
That's the first one I was going to mention.
Yeah, they're like bicorns, magical horse beings that like are quasi cybernetic, but they like shotguns out of all things. And then there's like cosmic barbarians. They snort cosmic dust to get high and go into a battle frenzy. There's cybernetic Ronald Reagans. You could be a class. There's Heathers, are like kind of like Captain Americas of Vietnam 2, The Revenge, that come back into the future to help fight a non-existent commie threat. Yeah, there's like War Wizards, like a glass cannon caster that's just like 4 hit points, but can do
who's the Shredders?
Night Stalkers.
There we go.
Yeah, so you got to have a ninja class if you're gonna do an 80s 90s game.
Right.
You have to, or else you get sued.
Yeah.
It's in the bylaws that no one knows about.
Yeah, right. The first class I played with you was I played a Heather, and then I guess it was because I just remember I had my guitar.
There was a Noise Thrasher.
Noise Thrasher, that was the other one I played. So those were good.
Yeah, that's like a wasteland bard.
Yep. And so now you have a new book that is is it on backer kit right now?
Yes, currently on backer kit with 25 days left. It is Deities and Demi Bros. So
now we've got the cover up on the screen. So for the people that are listening to the audio podcast later, let's describe what they're looking at.
So yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you did.
Oh, so I mean, off the bat, it's the deities and demigods like framing, like it's keyed up to exactly how the original TSR book looked, except there is some wrestling gods duking it out in a ethereal ring, if you will.
Yeah, and you got looks like a kind of like a Randy Macho Man, and then a luchador.
You got it.
Luchador. Yeah. Okay, and then looks like a water elemental and an earth elemental, but it's probably Poseidon, water god and earth god. Yeah, probably Poseidon, and then maybe Vulcan. And then we got some cosmic wizard looking things down there with some undead guys. So, and it's a robot of some kind with some kind of cyborgy robot thing. So, oh, and definitely a cosmic wrestling ring with instead of ropes, you have some kind of energy fields. So looks really cool.
Yeah, it is. It looks so good. I mean, again, somebody sees this on the shelf, they're just buying this. They're not even waiting.
Yeah.
This.
It's like, yeah, that was a big thing, was trying to get the art done in time for the Kickstarter. Like I was like, take your time, but like hurry up, you know, like you don't want to ever rush anybody. But Chris did a great job. Chris Freeman's the artist on this, and he's doing the third printing of the core book cover. And yeah, so Macho Man, Lord Randy the Savage One's there. The dragon is next to him, and you got Typhoon and Earthquake in the ring, and you got Randy's Taker, the Lord of the Dead, is on the other side.
That's awesome.
All right, so tell us a little bit about. Okay, you know what? Before you tell us what's in this, tell us how you got here.
So the big thing is there was like early Google Doc days of Neon Lords. I did a throwaway line of Macho Man Randy Savage being Zeus, right? And then like I sent out the doc to, I was like, hey, anybody wants to read this book, please, read it and tell me. And like everybody hit on Macho Man being Zeus in the world, right? It was just a little like three like line joke, right? About like, oh, I like in the God section, I put him in there just because I thought it was funny. But then it stuck, and everybody, it was like the biggest part of it. Everybody loved it. And then it was like Lord Randy be praised, like was like the motto of the game forever. And then so I was like, all right, well, yeah, I mean, I'll just live like, I'll just, spring off of that. And then after the first the core book, like I was always going to do Deities and Demi Bros as like a God supplement, and it just took years to finally get to this point after like other books got in the way or reprints had to happen, and finally like a window open. It's like, all right, I'm doing Deities and Demi Bros. I put the date in. I had nothing. Like I obviously like was writing it and stuff, but I had like no artwork for it or anything when I put the date on to like hard sell myself into it to finally get it.
Aren't you're doing two things at once right now? Because aren't you doing something with Hambone at the same time?
So yeah, Hambone and we did zombie brain eaters, Suburban Decay in the USA. That's already done and off to the printer. That's like we just put up a little pre-sale page for the game, and then printed off of like our out of our pocket, and then just gonna sell it.
Oh, okay, but still, you got a lot of work on your plate.
No, thanks.
Yeah, this is awesome. All right, so yeah, tell us a little bit about what we're gonna get inside this book now.
Yeah, so Deities and Demi Bros, essentially, so the backstory was Lord Randy was the only wrestling god because he locked everybody else in the Hell Cell, and so like the Hell Cell breaks apart, and all the wrestling gods are unleashed onto the world. And so like it expands more of like each lore and each faction that comes out of it, like the chaos gods, like the space gods, and it just expands more of the religions and like more like religion based classes. So like there's like the muscle priests and the luchador class, wasteland wrestler. And then there's the Savage Sisters of Elizabeth. They're like a nun order, kind of like Sisters of Battle in 40K. You're into that sort of thing. So and then it expands from 11th to 20th level, so you can go like epic with your campaigns if you really wanted to. Just kind of like expands the scope of the game a lot more.
So does the book in terms of things that you might use in your campaign, like playable type things, what sort of things can you do with it?
So yeah, so each god is like not statted, because I didn't want to like just go out and kill a god, right? That's
yeah, because I mean, that was the whole controversy, or I don't know if controversy is the word, but that was the whole thing when Deities and Demigods, the D&D book came out. Is all of us as kids were like, are we supposed to fight them? Like,
right, exactly. Yeah, so they all had stats. That's the one thing I don't like about the book. So it gives you like okay, so like who are their friends and their foes? Like what's their symbols? Like what spells do they grant their followers? Like wrestle weapons of the heavenly wars, I think it is. It's like brings all the like chairs, tables, ladders, and chairs into like the fight. Like wrestling, sanctioned wrestling rules are involved now, and then just a ton of that stuff.
So they're not statted out, but the things that they're doing. So explain a little bit about from the mechanics perspective. When you have them, is it just a matter of spells they're offering? What all can they do?
Yeah, so say like you want to be a full-fledged like follower of like the rowdy one, right? So
Mhm.
you're like you're a Piper fanatic, and so you go onto your thing and you see like all the spells, abilities, and power moves he grants you as a god, like a little bit backstory of Piper, and that he's like the god of like uh like against like any alien threats, right? Like he's a very anti Xeno god, you know, because they live, of course,
Yeah,
right?
right,
So
right.
and then so it'll show you like what all you gain from being a follower of him, like if on that side of it, and then on the opposite side, it shows you like what cults could look like that follow him, like on the more like if the more evil side of it.
Okay,
But you're
so
well,
you
hold on.
guys
But
can
so you're playing characters, and he's your god, and that's what he grants you.
Yes.
And that's what
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
all right, so you guys can go ahead and mock me all you want, but I've never seen They Live.
Really? I'm
Oh
surprised.
wow.
So
Okay.
You should watch it.
You
so
should.
so so fill me in here.
So, spoiler alert, I guess, on They
It's okay.
Live,
You can
you know.
spoil. Okay, for anybody
All right.
listening, here comes a spoiler. I don't mind. Go ahead.
So Roddy Piper is like this homeless guy and has a weird name, and I can't remember his name.
So
off the
he's
top.
in They Live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Right
the
off
main
the bat, I
character.
didn't even know that.
Oh yeah. He was an actor. Like he's in Hell Comes to Frogtown, one of my favorite movies of all time. You definitely got to watch that one. That one's phenomenal.
Okay.
The rubber suits for the frog people are insane. Anyway, so They Live. So he ends up getting his hands on a pair of special sunglasses.
Mhm.
Right. I'm sure you've seen the
This is
movies
the
and
only
everything.
thing I know about the movie. This is
Right.
it.
Right.
You're about
And
to
then
name
I got a
only
ninja
thing
turtle
I
in my
know.
hand. And then he when he puts on the glasses, he sees the world for what it is, and he sees like the aliens like inside the like they're past their human like facades, I guess, if you will. And then like
Yeah,
he
there's some
sees
kind of machine that's creating like this illusionary thing over people and over signs and TV and everything.
yes, and he sees through it for what the world really is, controlled by aliens, of course.
Yeah, everybody's controlled by aliens. Like you'll see billboards, and the billboard has all this stuff on it, but when you put the glasses on, it says obey,
Mhm.
consume.
Yeah.
That's so that's what that is. And they're basically just it's a social commentary on, like modern society. You're supposed to like shut up and buy stuff and
Yeah,
support.
like consumerism, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's consumerism.
yeah, it's like Dawn of the Dead. It's the same idea.
Mhm.
Oh no, am I going to be mixing the two of these up now?
No,
No,
you've seen Dawn of the Dead?
no. They're very different.
I have a very different set of movies than I think.
I know you are top shelf, very highbrow when it comes to entertainment.
Yeah, I won't get into all the Blake Edwards films or anything like that.
Right.
So,
But yeah, it's got famous lines like, I have come here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I am all out of bubble gum.
Again,
Oh.
something I know entirely through references
Yep.
to it. Yep. I know basically when you say that, I just think of the IT crowd instead.
Oh, okay.
When he's like, "I've come here to to win it, countdown and drink milk, and I'm all out of milk."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a bit of a diversion, but at least I know now what you're talking about when it gets into deities and demibros.
yeah, exactly. You got it.
Okay, so what all are you doing in the? Tell me about the crowdfunding campaign. What do people get?
All right, so there's a slew of things going on. So it's not only is there deities and demibros, there is also deadly dudes and toxic creeps, which is a monster supplement. So like the core book has like 101, 102 monsters, creeps that we call them in it, but this just expands it to like 200 more. Like so 100 and some more get added. So it's got a bunch of more monsters in it, and then like encounter charts, because everybody wanted encounter charts. Like, well, I'm in the wastelands. Like, what would I encounter? So now there's a bunch of tables you can roll and find out. And then there's like just a bunch of extra added stuff, like a lot of adventure hooks that pertain to the particular monsters and stuff that happen. And then so you can get both of those books. Yeah, Deities and Demibros is hardcover 8.5 by 11. It's like going to be like it's getting like about 250, 300-ish pages worth
Are you
of.
still adding some things?
I'm still adding, yeah, because like we're still unlocking Kickstarter stuff and waiting on the art. Like I mean, like art is like that's the reason why I have to Kickstart is because I want like a portrait for every god, and the wrestling gods alone, there's like 33 of them. And that's not
Right.
even like
Right off
going
the
into
bat, you've
like
got like $5,000 right there.
yeah, exactly. So like, so it's all the money's going in just the art and production, which is fine. I'm not trying to make money or
Oh,
anything.
no, I know. It's just, I think people don't, anybody who hasn't made something like this, I don't think they realize just how much of the money goes to art.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
I mean,
like if you want it to look good,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and I want it to look good, right? So like that's like, I mean, that's what we talked about off the bat with Neon Lords. Like so you ever, I know you've probably experienced this, a video game or like a book back in like the 80s, 90s, you get like a game book and the cover is phenomenal. And you're like, oh my
Mhm.
God, this is going to be the greatest game I've ever played in
Yeah.
my life. And then you open it up and there's no art in it. It's
Right.
like ugly layout. And it's just like, well, that was just like a bummer, right? So
Yeah.
like, so I wanted Neon Lords to be the cover, or like a movie too. You see this awesome VHS like art and the rental wall, and you're getting home and like the movie's nothing like it. So I wanted like my mission statement is for the book to match like the expectation of the cover, right?
Yeah.
So like, and that goes into art, which is like, and I love art and I love it. I get excited seeing it. So all the money goes into art. And then like, yeah, Deadly Dudes has a ton of art going into that. Like Lucas is doing a whole like giant monster fight scene spread for it and everything.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be
is
phenomenal.
this one's a soft cover.
Yeah, so that's gonna be about what 150-ish pages of soft cover
Mhm.
of I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll stretch goal a hardcover version, but we'll
You
see.
mean Retch Goal?
Retch goals,
Retch
yeah.
gold. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, gotta stay on theme for literally everything.
No, you nailed it with that. I don't know why nobody's ever thought of having Retch Goals before, but they're yours now. Retch Goals belongs to you.
Yeah, I
You did it.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So what are some of your Retch Goals?
So let's see. Retch goals. So at 10K, we unlocked, obviously got the book printed. 12K, we unlocked tag team rules. So now you can bring a buddy into the ring and fight tag team wise with the wrestling rules. 15K, Shiver Pimples adventure. So it's like Goosebumps, but not getting sued. Adventure added to the back of
Yep.
Toxic or Deadly Dudes. And then 17K, we unlocked the glow in the dark Pog Slammer of the Gods. 20K unlocked the Series 3 Pogs because first two book Kickstarters we had Pog series, and then we got those. And then 25, 30, 40, and 50 are all locked in secret.
Oh, okay.
I keep them secret.
No sneak peeks for us.
I mean, I could tell you definitely one of them is turning the other book hardcover for sure.
Okay. There you go.
Excellent. And let's see. So how far along are you? How's it going so far?
So, it's going great. So we are 30. What do we got? 25 days, and we are at 21.6. So cruising right along. My funding goal was 10,
Mhm.
like half for art, half for production.
Yep.
And then after that, but we have add-ons. There's a new GM screen getting done, which I do have to ask you about that, reminding me.
Oh yeah. I'll hook you up.
Thank you. And then just like all the old books you can add on, and
Of course. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Anytime you do a backer kit, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, whatever it is, if you've got this is for anybody who's making stuff. If you have stuff that already exists, put it in the store because people will buy it all.
Yeah, absolutely. There's all the old books are getting picked up, so that's good to see. And
especially since you might have somebody who doesn't have Neon Lords yet, and they see this and like, oh, this is for Neon Lords. Well, I'll back this, and then I can get the Neon Lords book while I'm at it. Let me buy that now.
Exactly. So we do have a pledge level called the Neon Newbie, where you can get the core book plus the 2 new books, and then there's one that's just give me the core, because we do offer the soft cover third printing in this. This would be the big unveiling of that as well.
Oh man. So is it different from the first printing in any way?
Yeah, it's a lot different. So tighten up on a lot of the we went back. My buddy Ed Murphy is doing the editing. He's tightening it up, bringing it to where it's like, hey, you spelled flesh god this way in this spot. You need to make sure they all are exactly the same. It's like
Yeah.
a lot of tightening up of that, and then like just ideas. It's like, well, like so the to the max charts, put them each with each class, right?
Right.
Like I didn't think about that like in the initial because I'm by myself, right? Like I don't have like so I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just put them all in the combat section, which makes sense. But then it's like, well, you might as well just put them all with the classes. So they're all getting moved to the classes, and then there's like a little each. So in the Riders of the Burp Warp brought like 12 new classes to the game, and then they all have like a little quick stat block at the end that has all the like fast information. So then I put all those in the new class or like the legacy classes, I guess, right? Like the original classes, and then just tightened it up and then pulled out some stuff, cleaned up some editing that I didn't like that, it's older, outdated. So just cleaning it up a little bit.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing is when you're working on something by yourself, you think you've thought of everything, but
you don't. Yeah.
you can't.
Yep, exactly. Which is fine. So that's like, like that's cool. Then it's a third printing and it's going to be cooler than the other ones, but doesn't
I mean, I'm
I'm
definitely buying that one too because I've just got the first one. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I need to get the extra stuff that goes with it. So I'll be getting the big bundle.
So let me ask, Neon Lords, when is there a time that this takes place? Is this a modern game? What?
It's I call it what do we call it? Post-apocalyptic cassette futurism, right? So it's like it's the technology of the 80s, 90s, but far flung millions of years into the future. So it's like Thundar the Barbarian if it was made in the 90s.
I got you. Like, what's that movie I saw recently? Rocket Kid?
Turbo Kid.
Turbo Kid, that's it.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Jason?
No, I've never heard of it.
You have got to watch Turbo Kid.
Okay, what is Turbo Kid?
It's what Brian just said.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I mean, is this like a $10 budget movie or something for real?
No, it's a
little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. It's for real, but it's got a real budget.
Okay.
It's made to look like a movie from the 90s that had a poor budget. But you know what I mean?
Like have a good
actor. Yeah. It's good. I mean, Michael Ironside's in it as the main bad guy, so you're getting class.
When you watch it, you'll have nostalgia. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good. It's one of my more favorite of modern movies for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Right. I'm going to check it out. So now you play every Wednesday night. Do you put it online for people to see?
No, we don't stream it just because of like some people just don't feel comfortable with it. So we just keep it, especially because like new people come in. So we keep it kind of just loose and free.
But for anybody who wants to play Neon Lords for the first time, I mean, other than just buying the books, they can come and see you at conventions or maybe what are some ways people can learn?
Yeah, so there's tons of ways. So you can, like you're saying, on the Discord, go to the Discord. We got a game every Wednesday. It's either I'm running it or Zach runs it, the community manager, or sometimes just like Neon Maniacs jump on like, hey, I wanna run this week. It's like, go for it, It's one less thing I gotta worry about, right? So then you could do that. You can go to cons. I'm at like 90% of the Northeast cons. Just online games. I mean, even off of that. So I got some guys running games down in Texas, the Pacific Northwest. There's a bunch of games on cons. We're getting there, slowly taking over the world.
Yeah, you were even running it at Gen Con this year.
Yep, I ran 2 games at Gen Con.
Yeah. And so coming up, let's see. So Shire Con will be coming up soon.
Yep. So I'll be at Granite State Comic Con the week before Shire Con, and then Shire Con, and then I'll be at Pittsburgh Gaming Expo.
Right, we'll be there too. We'll see you there.
Awesome! Yeah. Monroeville Mall.
Do you do a booth
Page?
Pittsburgh Area Gaming Expo.
Pittsburgh Area Gaming Expo. I don't know. No, that's Philadelphia Area Gaming.
Oh, then we're not going to be there. Sorry, I was mixing up my P's.
No, so Pittsburgh, I'm a special guest there, and I think I have a booth. I have to double check. But and then I go to Gamehole Con, and then PAX Unplugged, and then Page. Page I'll be there with Goodman booth. Yeah.
Right. And then I think we'll see. We're going to see you at Arcane Con.
Oh yeah, Arcane Con. That's on my list too. Yep. I'll be there for
that's
that.
a new one. We're helping to sponsor that up in Northampton. Just really cool people that are running it. So we're encouraging everybody to go and overwhelm them so they don't have enough space for anyone.
Yep, exactly. That one's cool too because as a vendor, you run 2 games, you get a free booth, right? So like rather than just running 2 Neon Lords games and burning myself out, I'm actually running the 80s Judge Dredd Games Workshop game like in my afternoon slot.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I get to run something classic too because it's kind of like a old school gaming, not like in the sense of like old D&D, but like older games like that vibe to it. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna put Judge Dredd on the list. Like I've always want to run it, and like nobody ever plays it. So
well, I'm gonna have to try to get in that because I think I've played with you in a few games now. You run some of the best games I've seen. So
thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, well, Brian, so we'll put up the links for everybody to go and pick up Deities and Demi Bros. And if you haven't played Neon Lords before, you can get the whole newbie pack. Thanks for being our guest this week, and had a great time.
Thanks. I appreciate you thinking about me and having me on.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you then. Everybody, that's it. It's Tabletop Weekly for this week.